Hello everybody, my name is Graham Elwood and you are watching The Political Vigilante. So I'm sure a lot of you heard of it. A big bomb was dropped by the Washington Post of all places. At war with the truth. U.S. officials constantly said they were making progress. They were not, and they knew it. The Afghanistan Papers. To me, from what I've read, this is on par with the Pentagon Papers that the Washington Post dropped. Ben Bradley posted. Is this journalist, Craig Whitlock, is he going to go to jail like Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning? Now, they would argue we went to court for 3 years and finally got a FISA Act, Freedom of Information Act, to unlock these, but then Ben Bradley should be put behind bar. But I just want to show you, and this is from the Washington Post. This is from the Military Times. U.S. officials blatantly manipulated data, intentionally lied to public to cover up failed war in Afghanistan. So here's what happened. The war that we've been in for 18 years, coming up on 19, 2,000 pages of previously unpublished notes of interviews with people who played a direct role in the war, from generals and diplomats, aid workers, and Afghan officials. The Post won release of these documents under the Freedom of Information Act after a 3-year legal battle. Oh yeah. And just like the Pentagon Papers, Bush, Obama, Trump, it just never ends. You know, they found out, it went back to JFK and even before him, Truman, Eisenhower all knew about Vietnam and kept it going. Same thing here. Same thing here. 18 years. I've been to Afghanistan 3 times to do comedy. 2004, 2006, and 2007. Yeah, bunch of generals, Rumsfeld, all there's quotes in here in these leaked documents, or unsealed documents, sorry, not leaked, unsealed documents saying, oh boy, this is never going to end. What are we doing? Douglas Lute, an Afghan war czar for Bush and Obama. See, tell me the difference between the two parties again. They both love war. We know that. Both parties have kept this Afghanistan war going. 9/11 happened, that we were going to go there because the Taliban gave safe haven to Osama bin Laden, right? That was the whole how they sold us on Afghanistan. Kind of made sense to me at the time. We were devoid of a fundamental understanding of Afghanistan. We didn't know what we were doing, says the Afghan war czar. A war czar? What is this, Risk? That's a real job. We need a war czar. What are you talking about? For Bush and Obama. Secretary Gates, who was with Bush and Obama. Here's what else this guy added. It's a 3-star general, by the way. A 3-star general is saying this. If the American people knew the magnitude of this dysfunction, 2,400 lives lost, Lute added. 2,400 troops. Let's go into the real numbers. These are Department of Defense. These are Pentagon numbers. I'm not making these up. Since 2001, more than 775,000 U.S. troops have deployed to Afghanistan, many repeatedly. Of those, 2,300 died there and 20,000 were wounded in action. I've met military people who were wounded over there. In 2006, I flew back. I was doing a comedy tour with Shema Tosh, and we were on a C-17 flying back to Kyrgyzstan that had 2 coffins in it. We just had to look at these coffins as we flew back. I've been to the Navy Medical Hospital in San Diego. I went for a couple of Thanksgiving, like 2012 or 13. I met some Marines who had lost limbs or wounded or whatever. Here's what a Navy SEAL had to say. What did we get for this $1 trillion? Yeah, we spent $1 trillion we spent just in Afghanistan. The global war on terror is somewhere between $5 and $9 trillion. Was it worth $1 trillion? Jeffrey Eggers, a retired Navy SEAL, said. And Navy SEAL is saying, why did we do this? White House, he worked for Bush and Obama. What did we get for this $1 trillion? $1 trillion? Afghanistan should have schools and girls, female politicians, and a soccer team that competes in the World Cup, and we go there as tourists, right? Right? We can fly to Hanoi. We can go to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. There's commercial flights there. You can go there as a tourist. I know people who've gone there. The woman who cuts my hair is from Vietnam. She's like, well, you should go. It's great. We should be going to Afghanistan as tourists. $1 trillion? Not to mention how many civilians we've killed. God only knows what that number is. Several of those interviews describe explicit and sustained efforts by the U.S. government to deliberately mislead the public. Deliberately. That's all through this report. All through this report. Deliberately designed to mislead people. The public. That's what it was. That's what we did. 2,400 lives lost, 20,000 wounded. Oh, by the way, there's 22 vets a day committing suicide. And when I was in Afghanistan 04, 06, 07. I was in Iraq 07, 08, and 2011. And I would hear people who are on their second or third deployments. Why are you getting deployed? Why'd you come back? $20,000 re-enlistment bonus. There's no jobs back where I live. You see this? You see how the ruling class has just depleted everything good in this goddamn country? Trillion. Think of the money we were spending. Think of what we could have. Think of what we could have. I just did a video about this $600-700 billion a year we give in oil subsidies. Here's what Rumsfeld said. 6 months after we invaded Afghanistan, Rumsfeld. You know that known, unknown guy, the most punchable face ever? We're never going to get the United States military out of Afghanistan unless we take care to see that there is something going on that will provide the stability that will be necessary for us to leave. Help, he wrote. Rumsfeld, April 17, 2002. And there's more. You read through this thing, there's more of Rumsfeld's notes going, what are we doing? What's going on? This is never going to work. Rumsfeld says it. All these generals say it, portray it. All of them, all of them, all of them, all of them, all of them. The United States has allocated more than $133 billion to build up Afghanistan. That's not even military budget. This is like supposed to be schools and roads and infrastructure. If you adjust this for inflation, it's more than we spent for the whole of Western Europe in the Marshall Plan in World War II. And the Marshall Plan actually worked. We rebuilt Europe. By the 50s and 60s, Europe was starting to get rebuilt and redone. There was war there for we were involved for 4 or 5 years. It was probably 6 years, maybe 7. So when Obama came into office in 2008, sworn in 2009, he should have ended the Afghanistan war. And now, 10 years later, we should have 10 years of rebuilding. And hey, this $133 billion we've spent, it's been great. It's thriving. The Taliban doesn't have the strength. We've given people rights. And we've given them democracy. No. And what else this goes into with regards to the aid, they just wrote these big checks. People didn't even know how to spend it. They're like, how am I supposed to spend $3 million in this area where people don't even have doors and windows? What do I spend $3 million? Like nobody thought it through. Just check, endless money, endless money. How are we going to pay for it? Anybody asked for this? Has anybody asked that we're going to pay for this war? This never-ending? I'm all for putting money in to help rebuild countries. What if we just did that instead of bombing them and taking their resources and causing all these problems? If you look at our lineage throughout the Middle East, we helped create the Taliban. We helped create Al-Qaeda. Right? Mossadegh was a democratically elected leader of Iran in 1953. By 54, we helped stage a coup with the CIA, and we put the Shah of Iran in there, who butchered and tortured his own people, which helped foster radical Islam to grow in Iran. The Ayatollah saw his parents tortured under the Shah of Iran. He became the Ayatollah. We backed Saddam in the Iraq-Iran war because Iran wouldn't give up their oil. They still won't, and we still want to bomb them. We sanctioned Iraq in the 90s, and over 500,000 children died. And Madeleine Albright, Secretary of State for Bill Clinton, said, yeah, sorry, it had to happen. See, this never-ending war. So think about this. What could America be doing with this money? And nobody asked how we're going to pay for it. How are we going to pay for free college? How are we going to pay for Medicare for all? I don't know. What if we spend money here? Not on war and private prisons and, militarizing our police force, but actually on things people need. Schools, road, housing for the homeless, affordable housing for just regular working class people. I drove by another tent city today on my way to this appointment that I go all the time by my house. And I was like, this tent city wasn't here. This is new within the last year. Tent cities all over Los Angeles. U.S. Agency for International Development executive said we were burning $400 million per month at one point. We lost objectivity. We were given money, told to spend it, and we did without reason. Without reason. So even our aid money was wasted and stupid and nobody knew what they were doing. Just keep it going. Since 2001, an estimated 157 people have been killed in the war in Afghanistan. Afghan security forces, 64,000. Again, these all have asterisks by them because we don't know. This is the DOD's numbers, estimated. We don't know. 43,000 Afghan civilians. It's probably higher than that. 3,800 U.S. contractors, 2,300 personnel, 1,100 NATO and coalition troops, 4,200 Taliban, 424 humanitarian aid workers, 67 journalists. $1 trillion to do all this. $1 trillion. That's what this idiot said in April of 2002. This is George W. Bush, a member of the ruling class that needs to go to prison. Him, Rumsfeld, Cheney, Obama, all of them, Biden, Trump, Hillary, John Kerry, lock them up. The history of military conflict in Afghanistan has been one of initial success followed by long years of floundering and ultimate failure. We're not going to repeat that mistake, he says at the VMI, Virginia Military Institute, April, 6 months after the war started. Ah. 17 and a half years later, December 2009. So Obama had been in office just under a year, sworn in January of that year. The days of providing a blank check are over. It must be clear that Afghans will have to take responsibility for security and that America has no interest in fighting an endless war in Afghanistan. Barack Obama in a speech to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. He vowed he increased the troops in Afghanistan, and we know he went from 2 wars to 7. While this was going on, Trump, why are we continuing training Afghanistans and shoot soldiers in the back? It's a complete waste of time. Bring them home. 2012, We should leave Afghanistan immediately. No more wasted lives. If you go back hard and quick, blah, 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 blah. 2013. So when he got to office, what did he do? Oh, that's right. Increase the troops. I'm sick to death of this shit, man. Look, I had a little bit of PTSD, man, from going over there. Not a little bit. I have PTSD from being in war zones. Telling jokes. I'm a comedian. We've sent almost 800,000 people have gone over there and come back to what? Walmart jobs? The VA not giving a shit? For what? This is how we treat our American sons and daughters that want to go defend this country? How many people joined up for noble reasons after 9/11? I wanted to go tell jokes for noble reasons. After 9/11, I said, I got to do something, man. I can't just be some game show host, comedian, actor. I got to contribute. I got to give back to society. So I'm going to go make people laugh. This all-volunteer military that is signed up to go do this really tough, awful job. And for what? For what? This? How about the families of all of these people? And again, the 22 vets a day. The deaths that keep that's not here. That's not calculated in here, by the way. The 22 vets a day that commit suicide. $1 trillion? This many dead Afghan civilians? They didn't ask for that. How are we going to pay for Medicare for all? How are we going to pay for this Green New Deal? Some idiot Fox News reporter says, it's going to cost $900 billion. How much does this cost America? I'm sick to death of American empire's bullshit wars. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of both parties lying to us. Look, lie, current liar, more lies. I'm tired of this shit. You think the Democratic Party is better than the Republicans? You're lying to yourself. You think Trump is some hero? He ran on an anti-interventionist campaign, and he upped the troop count. Oh, I'm pulling the troops out of Syria, but no, I need to keep some back there to guard the oil. We're still in war in Yemen. What are we doing? And to all the men and women that joined the military for noble reasons, we basically spit in their face and said, it was just for money and profit. So what that you went over there and got PTSD or came home without a limb or died or saw your friends die and you have survivor's guilt? So what about that, man? So what? You got traumatic brain injury. You got TBI combined with PTSD. So what is the VA just going to narc you up and who cares? Yeah. Oh, why don't you go be homeless? Yeah, homeless vet. I'm sick to death of this. I'm done. So, anyone in the comments section that served over in Afghanistan, if you were in Operation Enduring Freedom, man, let us know in the comments section, man. And I'm just going to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry this is the country that we live in. I'm sorry. I want to end war. Does this show have an agenda? Do I have an agenda on this show? You're goddamn right. I'm an anti-war progressive motherfucker. I am sick to death of this bullshit, of this waste of time and money and human lives. Gee, how come the Taliban, we can't beat them? Oh, I don't know. Somebody sees their kid get killed by an American airstrike and they join. Why wouldn't they? Every time we kill a civilian in the Middle East, we've just helped terrorist recruiting. But I don't know, here's a crazy idea. Part of the Green New Deal would be no more using oil, so we don't need to get in these ridiculous wars. What if we, imagine a country where everyone's driving electric car, hydrogen, some new, I don't know, whatever. Solar-powered cars that are all built in America. Americans are going to work not fighting these ridiculous wars so the ruling class 1% or billionaire assholes can profit from it. Because you know what? You know who doesn't care about this? I'll tell you what, Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, ExxonMobil, Halliburton, they don't give a shit about this. If they lost one of their people, oh, I'm sure oh boy, we'll give them a flag, but we're not going to stop the wars. When are we sick of this? When are we done with this? We could have a country that is amazing, that is a beacon of light and hope throughout the world, where we spend $1 trillion on research and development on green energy and technology that's made here in America by union working Americans. We can just write blank checks for all these goddamn endless wars. Why couldn't we do it for a Green New Deal? How are we going to pay for it? Anybody asked? Nobody asked. Nobody asked how we're going to pay for this. Nobody asked that. I'm sick of it. Thanks for getting your news here. Because I don't know that they're going to have this same angle on the corporate media. Because when Boeing and Raytheon buy ad time and Exxon and Shell buy ad time, and then there's a recruiting ad for the military on the corporate media, they're not going to ask these questions because they need this never-ending cycle of war. They need it. They need it. They need it. When the oil lobby buys ad time, when they buy politicians, we need it. We need it. Let me know when you've had enough. Let me know. Let me know when you've had enough. I don't know what the fuck that's behind me. Let me know when you had enough, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. Unless Google's deplatform me, then watch these videos on Rokfin.com/Graham Elwood. While you're getting my videos, I'll put all my videos on Rokfin, and they're ad-free. And then there's some videos that are premium videos that you got to pay $10 for, but that $10 gets you access to all the premium content on Rokfin. And then, of course, I will keep putting my bonus content on Patreon. So go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. And see me and Ron Placone on the road, Progressive Comedy Tour, Ventura, California, December 13th, December 14th in Hollywood, California. And then in 2020, we're going to Tucson, San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, Orlando, Miami, a bunch of other cool places. Milwaukee, Chicago, Nashville. We're adding more dates all the time. So go to GrahamElwood.com and follow me on Twitter @GrahamElwood. Thanks for watching.